This is the book of Proverbs. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 22. Get straight to the point. Verse 7, and it reads, "The rich ruleth over the poor, and the borrower is servant to the lender." It's the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7. Point is verse 7, and it reads, "Surely oppression maketh a wise man mad, and a gift destroyeth the heart. Better is the end of a thing to be Better is the end of a thing than the beginning thereof, and the patient in spirit is better than the proud in spirit." Let's start off by giving all praise, all honor, and all glory to Allah, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Kodesh Bakatham. Let's say double honors to my apostles, the elders of the great millstone, teach and do rule well. Let's say peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing his truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and their freedom to do so, now more so than ever. Say shalom to the Akim and the Aquath out there listening and learning, Lord willingly. This is edifying. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad, and all the other nations appearing like the other nations was subscribing to this truth. To you, I say shalom. It's your brother Yahweh out of the GMS Cleveland Church, a fellow servant. I'm coming at you with another lesson through the Spirit and through the power of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. This lesson is in regards to pretty much. I heard John Williams mention it, and then I was searching for some inspiration for a video through the Spirit. Came across an article. Uh, I started with you know, um, you know, Proverbs 22 and verse 7, because it says the rich ruleth over the poor, and the borrower is servant to the lender, and that's because the fact of how these devils set up this system. The international bankers control this world. That's why the scriptures talk about not worshiping mammon. Scriptures tell you the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. We know the wicked is a nation of people. Which the book of Malachi tells you Esau Edom is the border of wickedness, and when you go into a border, pretty much it's entering or exiting. Like a state, you have a border which you have to enter and exit. So Esau Edom pretty much, wickedness begins and ends with Esau Edom, and because of the fact that these individuals use the power of money to control you know pretty much because currency is what's current and what's basically used to buy and sell. They created this pretty much this paper dollar, this American federal federal FRN, Federal Reserve note. you know which has a stranglehold on the planet. Well, I mean, it's losing its grip. That's why we're seeing inflation. But point being, these bankers came up with this dollar, and pretty much we're all subjected to it. You know, uh, and I brought out Ecclesiastes 7:7 because it says, "Surely oppression make a wise man mad." Matter of fact, let me get the word oppression. When you go into that word mad, it means somewhat like crazy. You know what I mean? Which you seeing all kind of wild, wild things going on in the world because like the individual, the economist Gerald Celente says, when people lose everything, they lose it. It says oppression, prolonged, cruel, or unjust treatment or control a region shattered by oppression, the state of being subject to unjust treatment or control, a response to collective poverty and oppression. And because of the way the system is set up, it's an oppressive system. This, U.S. debt note. Let's look at it in the Bible. Oppression in the Bible. I was gonna give you a definition. So, with that being said, with this system with all this inflation, you got these different unions striking, you know, and that's the thing about a union, if they feel that they're, because you're part of this collective, they feel you're being treated unfairly or not being paid enough, they gather in numbers and they strike to hurt those, owners of those businesses of certain industries. You just see the car industry go through a strike last year. The thing is this though, which if you are actually like the Most High dealing with you, you'll see, although it seemed like those big three automakers had succumbed to the demands of those union workers. At the end of the day, it's gonna backfire on those people because right after they supposed to got the increase in wages, they laid people off. Because the thing is this, that's just like with this. Now this is a major thing. They saying it's gonna be historic because it's supposed to be over 100,000 people protesting or flight attendants protesting. But the thing is this: nobody can afford to fly or go anywhere. So if they was to give these people raises, eventually they're gonna lay you off anyway. Just like with the whole situation with the car manufacturers, the big three. You agreed to these you know wage increases because of the fact of inflation, but if nobody can afford to purchase any cars, what happens to those workers that just got these pay increases? They're gonna lose their jobs. They're gonna be laid off. So, it's the Most High actually putting everybody in a trick bag because ultimately they don't want you driving. They don't want you flying. You know, that's part of the agenda. I think 2030. They don't want you doing certain things. That's what the whole point of you're gonna have to have that certain ID. I forgot what the name of the ID is, but to enter certain facilities or be able to travel. So this is the implementations of pretty much that system they put in place. So this is out of the Guardian, which I found funny because when you read this all the way down, everybody hurting so bad they asking for you to donate to them. I thought I was gonna see it last time I read some of the article and it says going to be historic. U.S. flight attendants picking at major airports. So this supposed to happen yesterday. Since today is Wednesday, this happened yesterday, Tuesday, the 13th. It says protest came as over 2/3 of flight attendants in the U.S. are currently in new union contract negotiations. And then when you go into protest, uproars. I'm gonna get that. That's a spirit. Lock you. It's the book of Second Ezra, chapter 9. And I'm starting verse 1, and it reads, He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. And the highest is, we talking about Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Yahweh meaning he is or he exists. Bashem meaning in the name. Yahweh Shai meaning he is the Savior or he is the deliverer. The true names who you ignorantly call God and Jesus Christ. Verse 3. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, and that's the point. When you go into these uproars, those are these different protests. You've had protests going on with the Gaza or the Hamas Israeli situation conflict. You got uproars about these people feeling like, because a protest is an uproar. You got something more violent, but nonetheless, it's an uproar. And then, pretty much when you have an insurrection, that's pretty much when it becomes violent. Like when they was using that term, the insurrection with the January 6th, pretty much when they tried to say that Trump tried to, pretty much stay in office, which you can see like when he wasn't supposed to lost the election. You can see this is staged though, you know what I mean? After all that, they creating a civil war. They creating a division. And the scriptures talk about if a nation be divided, that kingdom cannot stand. Verse 4, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of these things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. Because it tells you in the book of Isaiah, chapter 46, and in other scriptures as well, that the Most High declareth the end from the beginning. Verse 5, for like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. When you go into the word manifest, it means to suddenly appear. So it's being seen, because the things that's written in the scriptures about, the things that's going to take place before the end comes are being seen for those that are watching and have the spiritual eyesight to actually see them. If you blinded, the Lord not dealing with you, you're going to have a lot of people that's going to be caught unawares. We were locked down to the point where they said you couldn't move around, and yet you still got people living. If not, I would say they living even more worse. I mean, not worse, but more foolish than they were before. you know, like as if like these things didn't take place, and that's why the scriptures talk about my people are sottish. 2/3 of the nation of Israel are stupid. They can hear the truth right in their face, and yet still, and they can see it with their own eyes, but yet still they'll go rely on talking about niggas for Trump. You know what I mean? You have a nigga, we telling you this man ain't gonna save you. Woe to them that go down to Egypt and help, and these different. We'll be telling them the truth, and then they'll still look to their oppressor to save them. So it says flight attendants are holding a picket protests at over 30 major airports across the U.S. on Tuesday as part of the worldwide flight attendant day of action. Damn. It says picket line events are planned in New York City, Orlando, Miami, San Francisco, Charlotte, Washington, D.C., Dallas, Atlanta, Chicago, Boston, Cleveland, Las Vegas. I didn't even name it. You know what I mean? Los Angeles and several other major cities. Some 100,000 flight attendants across 3 different labor unions are expected to Slovakia. It's 3 different labor unions are expected to participate. The protests came Slovakia. The protests come as over 2/3 of flight attendants in the U.S. at United Airlines, Southwest Airlines, Alaska Airlines, Air Wisconsin, Air American Airlines, Omni, and Frontier are currently in new union contract negotiations. Now that's a lot of airlines. I don't know how many airlines there are. I mean, there are. I said it's Slovakia for I'm half asleep, but and then you got you got smaller airlines that you really don't really hear about. Like I think Akron got an airline, but still, nonetheless, 100,000, flight attendants, like that's a major. That's going to affect, you know, operations of those airlines. Legacy sexism that traditionally devalued our jobs must be stamped out and replaced with the true value of our work. The group said in a statement for the event. Our time on the job must be compensated because everybody want to be paid more because life is getting harder. You know what I mean? Scriptures talk about evil and only evil. Let me get that. I thought I had it. This is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 7, and verse 5. Salakia. It says, thus saith the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, power and evil and only evil, behold, is come. The end is come, the end is come. If watching for thee, behold, it is come. So when we go into that word evil, evil is a compound word. Eve meaning time and ill meaning bad. Evil. So it's telling you
Strong's the Hebrew word 7451. Ra.
So it'd be Ra.
And second entry, Ra. And third entry, Ra'ah.
So it's a Ran, but it's Rayum. Ra is evil. Rayum is evils because the yum makes it plural. But It says bad, evil, bad, disagreeable, malignant, bad, unpleasant, evil, giving pain, unhappiness, misery. So if they said uh, evil and only evil is coming, misery is coming, unpleasantness is coming, uh, sad and happy, evil, wicked, in general, person, distress, misery, calamity, distress. So these days that's coming before us will be, distressful, um, unpleasant, malignant, unhappy. You know, makes me think of Second Timothy chapter 3 and verse 1 when it talks about perilous times. When you go to that word perilous is kalapas, meaning hard to do, hard to bear. It goes into fierce, dangerous, but it also means hard to bear, hard to do. So it's gonna be hard to live, hard to survive, hard to take care of your family. Hard, you know what I mean? Because when you go into this, you know, uh, it's getting harder to generate money because people don't have any. And these companies with their greed, they gonna want to constantly make money. Matter of fact, I'm gonna get that. This is the book of Sirach or Ecclesiasticus chapter 27 and verse 1, and it reads, "Many have sinned for a small matter, and he that seeketh for abundance will turn his eyes away." Listen to what I just said. I said these companies, these major corporations, they don't give a fuck about the employee or the people struggling to afford their goods. Look at Pepsi and McDonald's. They talk about. I watched this one economist. He was saying how pretty much it's like $6 for a hash brown from McDonald's. But to show you how brainwashing these people were just really under a trance, you was pay $6 for one hash brown from McDonald's when you can go get a pack of fucking hash browns from fucking this grocery store. Now, how stupid are you? Verse 2, as a nail sticketh fast between the joinings of the stones, so doth sin stick close between buying and selling. So, in the midst of buying and selling, you'll have people commit sin in order to make that money. You know what I mean? That's why scriptures talk about in the book of 1 Timothy chapter 6 and verse 10, it reads, "For the love of money is the root of all evil." Because when you love money, money is not a wicked. The scriptures talk about money as a defense. You know, it's the love of money that makes it wicked. For the love of money is the root of all evil, which while some covet after, they have erred from the faith and pierced themselves through with many sorrows. So, people go sell their souls to keep what they got. A lot of these entertainers and 2/3 of our people that consider themselves making it on this side, like people like Floyd Mayweather and these athletes and whatnot. You know what I mean? Like, I was just watching a video that the elder brother Barack Olive from Ancient of Days, LA, did, and he was going into William Cooper, and they was talking about how these athletes be being paid these ridiculous sums of money to shoot a ball or play football, but that's all bread and circus to distract the people. The Super Bowl thing, and I was listening to the elder Malcolm from Chicago going to how while people watching the Super Bowl and shit, pretty much they talking about Russia and the Israelis or those Khazars, pretty much like Russia just supposed to sink fired and attack them. So you know what I mean? And who's to say like they're denying it, but you can't trust these people. You know what I mean? You know, so again, government, gov meaning control, meaning your mind. They want to control your very thinking. You know, and they not really enforcing that at the moment, but eventually they go be to the point where you gonna be put in a position you go follow what the government say, or you go stand boldly for this truth and Yahweh Bashim Yahshua. So this is, I hate this thing. I ain't gonna read probably a little bit more, and that's it. It says, over 26,000 flight attendants at American Airlines represented by the Association of Professional Flight Attendants voted to authorize a strike in August 2023 with 99.47 in favor. Uh, it says with the wages that we have, it's just unsustainable. We can't live off these wages, and that's the thing because of the inflation. You know, what I mean, and it ain't even really became hyperinflation yet. When all these other countries, you know, you got the BRIC nations that's pretty much ditching the dollar. So when those dollars come back, you know, that's when we're gonna hit hyperinflation. I watched this guy again. He's an economist. His channel is Sales Daddy, and he was recently just saying that and he goes into it like when you really take the time to think about it, like you're seeing it. I just was at the grocery store the other day, and it was a chick. She went in there. She bought like maybe like 8 things. I think the thing came up to like $40. It might have been 6 things. I can't remember. I know she got 2 meats. The rest of it wasn't no meat. It was, what I mean? And I think she came up to like $45. And she like, damn, what did I buy? And that's what made me remember because I've said that before. I've heard brothers say it, you know what I mean? Like, so wait till you go in there and like I said, the guy Sales Daddy, I even took a clip from it because he was going into the scriptures. He went into, that's mentioned in the scriptures about the hyperinflation with bread. A loaf of bread would be $200. So you know what I mean? And I had to clip it and put it in a group chat because the scriptures is the scriptures jumping off the pages. It says well I mean that's enough said. At the end of the day, pretty much they are protesting because they saying they can't live off the wage they got, even though flight attendants make money, but because this inflation is cutting into everybody's pocket. You know what I mean? And because they're unionized, they feel that they can strike. But again, okay, say if it's, I mean, and they may have to succumb to it, just like they did the automakers had to succumb to it. But the thing is, if nobody can afford anything, it's like pretty much my children go to like a remote school, and they were saying how they got this AI headphones and this AI programs for the computers that they do. And I was just thinking, like, you people are very foolish because if they got all this artificial intelligence that can teach the child, what purpose do you serve? Why do they got to pay you? It says, we can't live off these wages, says Doris Millard, a flight attendant at Air Wisconsin for 44 years, who said her pay had changed little since she started at the airline in the 1980s. I feel like I'm being forced to give up my career and find something else or continue to basically live in poverty. That's all going back to the inflation. Flight attendant says it says Melissa Osborne has worked as a flight attendant for 23 years and has worked the past 7 years at Alaska Airlines. She said union contracts has experienced cuts to wages and benefits since the 9/11 tragedy and the downturn experienced by the airline industry. But she added working conditions have exponentially worsened since the CV-19 pandemic began in 2020 when workers had to deal with exposure to the virus, an uptick in unruly passengers, and more recently, issues with Boeing planes. And all these things play a part. You gotta remember you had planes falling out the fucking sky. If you ever seen that movie Flight, showing you how these big airlines, they could be at fault, but they're not gonna try to take the blame for that. Showing you the wickedness of these fucking people. So, uh with that being said, because the truth of the matter is, like I say, again, these people they all about a profit. They was just talking about how the guy Sales Daddy, the economist, he was saying how a lot of the like Pepsi. I think they said for a case of Pepsi they want $9. I don't drink pop. I drink ginger ale, but I don't drink Pepsi. You know what I mean? And ginger ale ain't what you think. Come to find out all these. They said ginger ale. It's more of a mind thing because it really doesn't do what you think it does, which makes sense. Kombucha probably do, and probably it does better. You know what I mean? But because what is it called? I can't think of the name of it. Again, I'm halfway asleep. What is that called? Where they get placebo? You know, They've basically brainwashed everybody to believe that this shit worked better than what it do. You know what I mean? So uh, it's going to continue to get worse because again, this way that this system is designed, you know, we all locked into it until eventually the Lord put the spirit on these devils to, make they move. It's not coincidental that, like I said again, they got the whole pretty much earth indoctrinated with this greenback, and then what they're gonna do is try to take it away. You know, implement a system with unless you basically have this device to be able to buy or sell, you're gonna be, ostracized and pretty much placed outside of this system. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 73. And listen to what I just said. They said if you don't take part in this system, then, just you're going to be put to death or ostracized. So they don't give a fuck about oppression. They don't look at oppression. They ain't no problem with oppressing you. You got to remember, these are the same people that have attempted numerous amounts of time to try to take over and control the whole earth. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 73, and verse. I'll start at verse 1. Truly the Most High is good to Israel, even to such as are of a clean heart. But as for me, my feet were almost gone. My steps had well nigh slipped. For I was envious at the foolish when I saw the prosperity of the wicked. Because the scriptures tell you in the book of Job, chapter 9, and verse 24, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. For there are no beds in their death, but their strength is firm. These people, they got a whole stranglehold on the earth. Brothers was going into that about, think about it, they got embassies, which are pretty much garrisons, modern day garrisons, in like over 800 countries. You wouldn't even think it's that many motherfucking countries. They are not in trouble as other men, neither are they plagued like other men. I did a video the other day. I was going to do a video the other day about, it was a couple, they appeared to be Edomites, who pretty much let their daughter, just die on the couch. I don't know what was wrong with her. She probably had a mental illness or whatever, but they said she was of sound mind, so they pretty much like allowed her. She pretty much just wanted to sit on the couch, so she wasted away. They pretty much said that, when the coroner found her or looked at the remains, she had melted into the couch. But point being, she I think this happened they were arrested in 2022, and they're just now going to sentencing like next month. So they've been on bond the whole time, and I was just thinking pretty much if that was a Jake, so-called black man or black couple, they would have never seen, no bond like that, Verse 6, therefore pride compasseth them about as a chain, violence covered them as a garment. Who is the most violent people on the planet? Look at what these motherfuckers doing. The elder Malcolm was just going into that because, he real good with, politics and as far as these different militaries and, breaking down, what's going on with that. And he was saying, pretty much they slaughtered the people over there, And these is all the same people, you know what I mean? Just sub or put in a higher regard because, they set up like that, But they are the same people, just like you got Putin and fucking, what's his name, Marco, they all Edomites, Not a Jew, you know what I mean? They just different tribes of Esau, Edom. It says, verse 7, their eyes stand out with fatness, they have more than heart could wish. I was looking at this Facebook post, they were showing all these different, pretty much like log cabins. You'll see Esau, some brothers had jobs where they, delivered, maybe working for Amazon or whatever, and they would just, elaborate about how they'd go to certain areas and you'll see how Esau living. You'd be like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like Jake just they not in trouble as other men. Verse 8, they are corrupt and speak wickedly concerning oppression. They speak lawfully because they have a rulership mentality. And then we are told that we are wrong for saying how we go to subjugate them, though. That shows you how weak our people have become. Like the elder Apostle Tahar and the beloved elder Apostle Gabar was saying, all nations have been set up. You've always had a class of people that pretty much was beneath or had to, set up, a kingdom. We did it here. What's so wild or what's so far-fetched about that? What's so crazy about it? You know what I mean? That's that vibration that, that's another part of their witchcraft. They have really brainwashed the minds of 2/3 of our people. So you're going to see more and more oppression because, like I said again, shit only going to get harder. So with that, I'm going to end the lesson. That's why we got to really, lock in and hold on to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua, because, Passover about to come up, shit, today, is Ash Wednesday and Valentine's Day, which are both, pretty much pagan holidays. But I have, this is the first time I recall them both falling on the same day. I'm sure they have in the past, but what I'm saying is I've never noticed it before. I did a video on that yesterday. So let's sit back and wonder or sit back and watch to see what else, the Lord has in store for us. If you're a so-called Black, Hispanic, Native American, Civil Indian, West Indian, or Haitian, I implore you to come back to the laws, to statutes, and to the commandments of your power, whose true name in the Hebrew is Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahushua, or you will be destroyed. With that, I want to give all praise, all honor, and all glory to Allah, Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahushua, Ba'Shem Chakadus. I say double honors to my apostles, the elders of the great millstone, teaching the rule well. I want to say peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing the truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and the freedom to do so now more so than ever. Say shalom to the Akim and the Akwath out there listening and learning. Lord willing, this is edifying. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad and the land of other nations, appearing like the other nations, but subscribe to this truth. To you I say shalom. Until next time I'm able to come with another lesson, say shalom, shalom, and kwab yasharallah, shalom.